Welcome to the inter-regional debates of the Great Debaters Contest. I am Mariam Bishar, and today Kathiani Boys faces off with Moi Forces Academy, and they are asking whether those who contribute to society should have greater voting rights than those who do not contribute at all.
The motion this week is, those who contribute greatly to society should have greater voting rights than those who do not contribute at all. Proposing the motion, Moi Forces Academy. Opposing the motion, Kathiani Boys High School. Each contestant has 3 minutes to make their submissions. The audience also gets a chance to put their questions to each team. Each side will have an additional 1 minute to make a final statement. The judge's decision is final. The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with a widescreen TV, computers, webcams, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a tablet courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Unilever, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win.
We leave it to the first proposer. You may take the stage.
A leader is one who knows the way. A leader is one who goes the way. A leader is one who shows the way. And I'm here to show you the way. My name is Philip Negwa from Moi Forces Academy, and I'm here to propose today's motion. Now, voting rights are the legal entitlement to formally express your opinion in person or by proxy on the affairs of a country, a company, or any sector of society that you are a part of. Now, a society is an aggregate of individuals who have a common background, share a belief, or even share a resource. Now, contribute greatly to society just means having an effect on society in whose intensity is considerably above the normal average. Now, ladies and gentlemen, think about your voting rights away from the political. In Kenya, you have rights to vote politically when you go to a general election, a referendum, or even a recall. Now, voting rights aren't just the political aspect. You have the social aspect. Look at it from a company's perspective. One of the most profitable companies in Kenya today is Kenya Airways. Kenya Airways, the pride of Africa. Speaks for itself, doesn't it? Pride of Africa. Now, Kenya Airways to date is now one of the most profitable organizations because of the works of Titus Naikuni. Titus Naikuni joined Kenya Airways in 2003, and between 2003 and 2004, Kenya Airways recorded an increase in profits by 200%. I'll say it again, 200%, from 547 million to 2 billion. Now that is the effect of putting someone who has contributed greater to society in a position of leadership, giving him greater voting rights. Now politically, countries like Bosnia, Montenegro, give 16-year-olds who have a steady income an opportunity to contribute to society by voting. They give them the opportunity to participate in general elections. But if you don't have a steady income in Bosnia, you don't vote, simply because you're not contributing to society. Here's the bottom line. If someone does not contribute to society, it means he doesn't care. And if he doesn't care, why give him the right to make a decision? That is the bottom line. Look at it. People who contribute to society aren't just men. There's Titus Naikuni, but there's the late Professor Wangari Maathai. The late Professor Wangari Maathai was a pioneer of the Green Belt movement. Her works in environmental conservation led to the planting of over 40 million trees. That's our population in trees. When she started the Green Belt movement, she caused the rise in forest cover from 2% to 10%. 2 to 10% through her works. The late Professor Wangari Maathai also worked for women's rights. She fought for your rights as ladies in parliament. When Professor Wangari Maathai was elected as a member of parliament, she was immediately put into the Ministry of Environment as assistant minister. Ladies and gentlemen, to date, she won over 30 accolades, the greatest of which was the Nobel Prize. In conclusion, this is the conclusion, ladies and gentlemen. This morning I said a prayer, and in my prayer, I mentioned these people. The reason I did that is because they're making a mistake, and for that, they need Jesus. Thank you.
We'll now have the first gentleman proposing from Kathiani. You have 3 minutes.
A leader undoubtedly shows the way. I am Emmanuel Ochola from Kathiani Boys High School, and as I stand on these honorable grounds, I strongly oppose the motion that those who contribute greatly to society should be given greater voting rights than those who do not contribute at all. The language of this motion is indeed discriminatory. Why? Because it raises so many questions. 1, who are these people who contribute greatly to society? And 2, who are these people who do not contribute at all? Honestly, I don't think there is anyone who does not contribute at all to a society. I heard him talk about the Kenya Airways. What is the measure of their contribution? And what about that mama mboga out there who feeds you every day? Isn't that a great contribution? Anyway, I am a believer. We are believers. And I know you're all believers of equality. So, why are we talking about those who are contributing greatly being given a priority over those who are not contributing? Yet, we are talking about equality in this sense. I want to quote from the 15th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. That is the Voting Rights Act of 1965. That says, all citizens should not be placed under limitations for voting rights, which means we're supposed to be equal. And talk about Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the Indian nation. Do you think that India will be the existing nation that we now know as the most democratic nation were it not for this great father of this nation? What did he do? He fought against the system of class. People were not put at equality. There were people who were of high class and those who are untouchable down there. Yet those who are untouchable down there are the ones who create the majority of the population. Thumbs up to Mahatma Gandhi. Then, do we want to say that all their efforts have been put to waste? All their efforts to bring equality to the nation. Do we say that they wasted their time in trying to fight for the voting rights of all people? Even women. We need women to vote. It was a long time ago when women were not voting. But now, we have women who are voting. So, be pregnant as we tell you the truth. For you do not know the truth until you know the truth. Thank you.
We'll now hear rebuttals, beginning with the proposing team. You have 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you and your friends walk into a restaurant. There is some good food and there is some poison. Some of you want to take the good food, others want to take the poison. But because you value equality, you say, let's take some of the good food and some of the poison. Then you all die. That is exactly what they're telling you to do. You also asked about those who contribute greatly and those who do not contribute at all. Might I just say that society is an integration of many sectors. Take, for example, economically. If I don't pay tax, I don't contribute to society. Environmentally, if I don't conserve my environment, I am not contributing. Is that clear? You also said that Kenya Airways has done no contribution to society. But indeed they have. By increasing their profit, they bought more planes, more job opportunities, thus raising living standards of people. That is a great contribution to society. In the United States of America, the amendment in 1965, people who do not pay poll tax are not allowed to vote. That is, people who do not contribute to society are not allowed to vote. Simply. You also said that Mahatma Gandhi did so much to society in fighting for equality. But wouldn't you call that a contribution to society? Wouldn't you? In 1915, the United States of America had a debt of 7% to their gross domestic product. This is when they were undertaking equal suffrage. That means if you had property, you were allowed to vote. If you didn't, you couldn't. Now, in 2014, they have 71% debt to their gross domestic product. That is, if they earn 1 billion, they have to use 700 million to pay debts. That is salaries for workers, salaries for government officials. In other words, for every 1 billion they get, they lose 700 million. That is what happens when universal suffrage was undertaken, equality was undertaken, and their debt rose. Coming back home to Kenya, Vimal Shah, the only dollar billionaire in East Africa, net worth $1.3 billion. $1.3 billion. He has great contributions. That's why he sits in the boards of many companies. And those companies prosper. Take, for example, USIU. A university provides education to people and is prospering. Thank you.
The opposition, you may also give a rebuttal. You have 3 minutes.
In front of you is John Gitonga. I would like to correct my friends here who are grossly mistaken in stating that those who do not pay tax should not vote. That is according to the 1965 bill in the United States. Let me correct them. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 introduced the bill that says no one should be discriminated against the basis of gender, against the basis of color, no race, that from voting. And another issue, they say that those people who are not contributing to the society should not be given equal voting rights. Do you want to trash the very constitution that we have fought for over 50 years? Blood, tears were shed. Do you want to throw that out in the trash and say that we should not have equal voting rights? This is contained in Chapter 4, which has the Bill of Rights. You talk about these leaders, the same leaders who unleash a vitriolic tirade of unprintable, explicit relics against each other, against the very people who voted them in. Are these the people that you want to be elected? Yeah, because they have contributed greatly. My answer is no. You talk about KQ and others who have contributed greatly. So, what parameters do you use to measure greatness? Don't you see your mother? Are you so blind that you do not see your mother having made the greatest contribution to this world by giving birth to you, carrying you for 9 months? Is that how you repay them? What about your teachers? Your teachers who have brought you here. Haven't they made any contribution? That you talk of KQ, I don't know what MPs. What has that MP done for you? That's why I oppose the lack of inclusivity and discrimination perpetuated by this motion. Rivers and rivers of blood have risen, and tears, floods of tears have been shed in the fight for equality. Look at our forefathers, the Mau Mau. They spent nights on the run against the colonialists. For what? They were murdered, they were maimed. Families left in destitution. Why? So that we could achieve equality. And this equality is the right to vote. So, I offer a solution to you. The recipe for peace today is equality and justice. Were it not for equality and justice, we would not be here. Thank you.
Okay, can we get questions for the proposing team?
My question is basically, why are you taking us back? Because history dictates that we have been fighting for this voting rights, regardless of your gender, race, religion. So why are you trying to take us back?
You said that greater voting rights. 3 words, but please, can you give us the limitation of the greater voting rights? Does it mean that those who contribute to the economy, they vote first and therefore they can decide who they want to do, what they want to do? Or does it mean that those who do not contribute to the economy cannot vote at all?
Questions for the opposing team?
Don't you think you're being discriminative? If you're talking about women as your example of those less disadvantaged in the society who are supposed to be considered as rights of voting, because I think if you're supposed to be against discrimination, then you should be against all sorts of discrimination.
Terry Jerry from Nembu Girls, and I would like to pose a question to the opposing team. According to the Wikipedia, Mahatma Gandhi fought for independence of India. So, did he really fight for independence of India, or was he fighting for social inclusion? Please elaborate.
Now we'll have the third proposer. You have 3 minutes.
Let the truth be the aim in every debate, not victory or unjust objectives. Ladies and gentlemen, before you is Samuel Mutemi from Moi Forces Academy, and I will answer your questions. To the first question, the person who was asking mentioned gender, race, and religion. For starters, that is not contribution. And I'd like to say we are not taking people back, we're just giving people a chance to prosper. That's what we are doing. Giving people a chance to prosper by choosing people who have contributed and who know what they are doing. To the second question, what are greater voting rights? Ladies, I love your handbags, very fashionable. Now, if I came and told you, you will not carry that handbag today, I know the first question my sister will ask me is, did you help me buy it? Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not contribute to society, then it means you do not care and you do not have a say over whatever sector that is. What am I saying? I am saying that greater contributions are contributions that can be seen, contributions that can affect a lot of people, while there are people who do not contribute. So I believe I have answered that question. To our opponents, I believe their information is rather plain, so allow me to sprinkle some aromat on it. Now, mothers, one of them spoke about their mothers being great contributors. I agree, they are great contributors. And that is why when they tell you to go to the shop, you go to the shop. What am I saying? They have greater voting rights in the home. That is why they are great contributors. Then, I had a question I never anticipated. What has Kenya Airways done? Ladies and gentlemen, do you watch rugby? The Kenya Sevens. Ladies and gentlemen, how many people have done a piloting course sponsored by Kenya Airways? That course costs my school fees multiplied by something like 3 to 6. Ladies and gentlemen, these people have done a lot. And that is how they've contributed to society, not only economically, but also socially. Now, You give them an egg, they eat it. You give me an egg, I make you an omelette. Now, 7%, according to WordPress.com, is the amount of Kenyans who are able to evade direct tax. What am I trying to say? That 7% of Kenyans evade tax. Now, most of you pay tax if you work. What I'm saying is that if this 7% was able to pay their taxes, ladies and gentlemen, in 15 years, you will be able to buy your own Range Rover. And these people still hold a voting card with you, and they line up to vote with you during election day. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the omelette.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes.
Hello everyone, I'm Steven Mtinda from Kathiani High School. Before I start, I'd just like to say that when I was a young child, my grandfather used to tell us cock and bull stories. I used to believe them back then, but as I grew up, I realized that they were lies. I think the same things are the ones that the proposers are trying to tell us. I'll justify that in a moment. Let me first answer the questions posed to our side. Isabella, you said that we got our facts wrong, and I bet you are the one who has not done research. I'll choose to advise you to go and Google voting rights. Google the word voting rights. Then you go through that amendment of 1965, and then get back to me. Njeri said that we confused the role played by Mahatma Gandhi. I think she also got it wrong. She said that we were talking about what Mahatma fought for was the social aspect of India. But if a country, if the social of a country is demoralized, if there is no coexistence between people, is there independence in that country? The answer is no. So, the fact that Mahatma fought for the social equality, he fought against the caste system, which was dividing people. He fought against that when he was the president. So he brought equality. And a country which has equal people, that country is independent. Right? I guess yes. So let me get back to my fellow debaters. Before I comment on your cock and bull stories, let me comment on your dressing. Before you come on stage, this is a national debate, so you should make sure that your shirt is tucked in. I'm addressing the second debater. And the first debater said that people who don't pay poll taxes should not vote. You might not pay poll tax, but you pay tax through VAT. That is tax. So you deserve to vote because you are a taxpayer as well. And finally, I'd like to talk about the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. It was adopted by the UN, and it is enshrined in the constitutions of all member countries. And what does it say? It is put in the Bill of Rights, even in our Constitution, Chapter 4. It says that people should be equal. And therefore, if you adopt this motion, it will be a disgrace to the principle of equality, and it is against the spirit and letter of the Constitution. Thank you.
We'll now hear closing statements from Moi Forces. You have 1 minute.
She was giving birth in Vihiga District Hospital. The lights were out, generators not working. Ladies and gentlemen, they used the light of a phone. It was Dr. Frederick Olugoya. Those were 2 lives. Ladies and gentlemen, when will it take us to put people who contribute and people who know what they're doing in society. That could have been your mother there, giving birth. There were no gloves to add on to it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time we started putting the right people in the right places. Who would want their mother to give birth in such a place? I'm glad my opponents agree with me. So I'd like to say this, that if we don't want what happened in that hospital to be a common occurrence, walk with me.
Kathiani Boys, we'll hear your closing statement.
Many people have suffered a lot. Yeah. Many have died. Political assassinations. Talk of people dying of hunger. Talk of others who don't have basic social services in their places. Why? Inequality. So, the proposers are misleading us, telling us that people should have greater voting rights. This is the thing that brings about inequality. And I pose a question to you. Is there a man and a greater man? I raise my case, be the judge. Thank you.
Emmanuel, on the other side, this is Kathiani Boys. Emmanuel, you articulated the motion very well. In fact, when you came on stage, you started it in an extremely good way as a first speaker. You have a very strong voice and you're very confident as well. And I think overall, you did well. John, you have a good voice as well. Great point, sorry. Very confident as well, and also come across as a good cross-examiner. Stephen, you did well. However, a debate is a race against time. That's what I would say. And so you want to give as much as you can within the 3 minutes given. Don't have a lot of time concentrating on the dress codes of people and all. It's good for you to come, give your submissions. As a third speaker, you have the ability to cross-examine, to even give extra points and even answer the questions. So that would have been good if you capitalized on that. However, all the best to the two teams.
Moi Forces Academy. Philip, the question that I put down on my paper is, do more to convince me. You really had a lot to do, a lot of convincing to do actually, as the first affirmative speaker. Chris, fairly good rebuttal, but you're calm in your presentation, which is good, and you're reasonable in your presentation. Most of the issues you raise are thought-provoking issues, which is good. Samuel, a lot has been said about you, and I think you are the one who was almost explaining to us what is greater voting right and what do we mean by contributing greatly. And I think this is one of the debates in which addressing the definitive issues of the motion is important, demystifying the motion. You know, most of the time we talk about understanding the grammar of the motion. If the audience does not understand the grammar of the motion, then do it for us, demystify the motion so that we understand, set the parameters as it has been stated. But Samuel, you're good, very good debater. You asked us to enjoy the omelette. Was it you? Yeah, I enjoyed the omelette.
This motion is abstract, and I was hoping that one of the teams or all the teams will try and deconstruct certain terms for us. I think one of the things that I was looking out for is what is a significant contribution to society. And when Emmanuel comes up, he asks certain questions that I'm also asking. I almost feel that he's reading my mind, and I'm very excited. But you do not provide the answers. So I don't know who was supposed to do that. I wish that you narrowed down. And sometimes when you get a complex or an abstract motion like this one, it is within your ability, or you're allowed to work within certain parameters and say, for us as a team, these are the parameters that we're going to work with, and this is how we define what a great contribution is to society. The opposing team can differ, but that is what your team has agreed on either side. And so when those terms were not deconstructed, then even your presentations then remain, ambiguous.
The gentleman from Moi Forces, they have 67%. Give them a hand. That is a job well done. And the gentleman from Kathiani managed to outshine them. They have 68.1. That was good effort from both teams, very slim margin. That means it was a good debate. From all of us here at the Great Debaters Contest, it's goodbye till next time. I am Mariam Bishar.
The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with the widescreen TV, computers, webcams, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a tablet courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Unilever, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together, they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win.